Bro, I just bought a new Lexus yesterday.
No way!
A Lexus? Seriously?
Bro, please don't finish the Gary remain for me. You sef, you dey from rich boy online. Abeg, leave some for your boys.
In Lekki, some people are not rich. They are just very talented at pretending. 3 young men were living like billionaires on Instagram. The only problem: one borrowed cars, one lied about his job, and one couldn't even afford dinner. But when their girlfriends finally discovered the truth, the most embarrassing night in Lekki history began. Hello beautiful people, welcome to my channel, the home of inspiring, thrilling, and unforgettable stories from Africa. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. Your support helps me bring more amazing stories your way. God bless you richly. Lekki was not just a place. It was a dream, or at least, that was what many people believed. Every morning in Lekki Phase 1, the sun rose slowly over tall palm trees and glass buildings that glittered like diamonds. Expensive cars rolled out of gated compounds. Security guards opened tall iron gates with serious faces as if protecting kingdoms. From the outside, everything looked perfect. Young men stepped out wearing clean suits, designer shoes, and dark sunglasses. Young women walked confidently with luxury handbags, high heels clicking against smooth pavement. Cafes were filled with people typing on laptops and speaking loudly about business deals. On social media, Lekki looked like the center of success in Nigeria. If you opened Instagram, you would see photos like "Breakfast in Lekki," "Sunday vibes," "Living my best life." Behind the pictures were swimming pools, champagne glasses, and shining cars. To someone watching from another city, it looked like everyone in Lekki was rich. But the truth was something very different. In Lekki, many people were not rich. They were simply very good at pretending. And among the best pretenders were 3 men and 3 women whose lives were about to collide in ways none of them expected. Kelvin, the man with the perfect life. Kelvin Okoro was one of the most admired young men on social media. His Instagram page had over 120,000 followers. Every post showed a life most people could only dream about. One day he posted a picture standing beside a white Range Rover. Caption: "From the trenches to the top. Crypto changed my life." The post received over 15,000 likes. The comments were full of admiration. "Boss, please teach us. You are my motivation. One day I will make it like you." Kelvin loved reading those comments. They made him feel powerful. They made him feel important. But the truth about Kelvin's life was something none of his followers knew. That Range Rover, it was rented for 3 hours. Kelvin had paid almost all the money in his bank account just to take pictures with it. The luxury apartment behind him in the photo, it belonged to his friend Emeka, who had traveled to the UK. Kelvin had begged him for the key just to take pictures for Instagram. Even the expensive watch on his wrist was not his. It was borrowed from a friend who worked in a jewelry store. Yet when Kelvin looked at his Instagram page, even he sometimes started believing his own lies. The problem was simple. In Lekki, if you looked rich long enough, people began to believe you were rich. And Kelvin had discovered something dangerous. Fake wealth could attract real opportunities. Or at least, that was what he hoped. What Kelvin didn't know was that somewhere else in Lekki, someone was running a similar game. Sonia, the queen of Instagram. Sonia Daniels was beautiful, very beautiful. Her skin glowed in every picture. Her smile was confident and mysterious. Her Instagram page looked like the life of a celebrity. Photos of luxury hotels, private pools, expensive restaurants, shopping malls. Her captions were simple but powerful. Soft life only. Thousands of young women followed her. Many believed she was living the dream. But Sonia knew the truth. Her entire online life was carefully planned. The clothes she wore in pictures were often returned to the boutique the next day. The luxury hotel rooms she posted. Many times she only paid for one night just to take enough pictures for the whole month. Sometimes she even visited expensive restaurants without ordering full meals. She would order a single cocktail and spend 2 hours taking photos. It was not about food. It was about content. Because Sonia understood something important about Lekki. People respect what they see online. And if she could convince the internet that she was living a luxury life, then eventually, someone truly rich might enter her life. Maybe a businessman, maybe a politician, maybe a foreign investor, someone who could turn her fake luxury life into a real one. One evening while scrolling through Instagram, Sonia saw Kelvin's page. She paused. The cars, the mansion, the confident smile. She whispered softly to herself. Finally, a real rich guy. She didn't know Kelvin was thinking the exact same thing about her. Meanwhile, across the street from a popular Lekki lounge, Tunda Balogun stepped out of a ride-hailing car wearing a dark blue suit. 2 phones were in his hands. He spoke loudly into one of them. Yes, send the documents to my Dubai office. People nearby turned to look at him. That was exactly what Tunda wanted. He loved attention. He loved looking important. Inside the lounge, waiters greeted him respectfully. Good evening, sir. Tunda nodded like a man used to power. Everyone believed he was a successful tech entrepreneur. After all, he constantly spoke about international clients, investment deals, tech startups. But if someone had followed him home that night, they would have discovered a different story. Tunda lived in a small 1-bedroom apartment with unreliable electricity. And his real job, he worked night shifts as a customer service agent for an international company. His salary was okay, but the lifestyle he was pretending to live was far beyond his income. Yet he continued acting like a wealthy businessman. Because in Lekki, reputation could sometimes be more powerful than truth, and that reputation was about to bring someone into his life. Her name was Lola. On a quiet night in Lekki, 6 different lives were moving toward each other. Kelvin the fake crypto millionaire, Sonia the luxury influencer, Tunda the pretend tech boss, Lola the corporate queen who wasn't, and Ada, the only person living a real life. If you believed Instagram, Kelvin Okoro was one of the most successful young men in Lekki. His page looked like the headquarters of success. One day he was standing beside a Bentley. Another day he was drinking coffee beside a swimming pool. Another day he was sitting in a luxury restaurant writing captions like, "Money respects discipline." People loved it. Young men in the comments begged him for advice. "Boss, please teach us crypto." "Bro, how did you start? Mentor me please." Kelvin would smile as he read the messages. He liked the feeling. It made him feel like a king. But if anyone had looked inside Kelvin's bank account that morning, they would have started praying for him. His balance was 2,430 nairas. And the worst part, the car rental company was already calling him. His phone rang again. Kelvin looked at the screen and sighed. Ah, these people again. He picked up. "Hello, sir," the voice said politely. "Your rental time expired yesterday." Kelvin tried to sound calm. Yes, I know. I'm sending the transfer now." The man replied immediately. "Sir, you have said that since last week." Kelvin scratched his head. "Relax, my brother. Do I look like someone who cannot pay?" The man paused. Then he said something that made Kelvin sweat. "Sir, we are already outside the compound." Kelvin froze. "Outside where?" "Outside the house where you parked the Range Rover." Kelvin jumped up from the couch. "What?" He ran to the window. And there it was. 2 men standing beside the beautiful white Range Rover. One of them was even taking pictures. Kelvin almost fainted. If those men carried that car away now, half of Lekki would see. And the problem was that Kelvin had already posted a photo of the car that morning with the caption, "Hard work never lies." Kelvin rushed outside wearing only slippers. My brothers, calm down. The two men looked at him like teachers looking at a troublesome student. Sir, one of them said, we need our car. Kelvin laughed nervously. Of course. But why are you rushing like this? The second man opened his phone. Sir, the company said if you don't pay today we should drive the car away immediately. Kelvin lowered his voice. My brothers, please, at least let the neighbors go inside first. Unfortunately, one neighbor was already watching from the balcony. Another one was even recording with a phone. Kelvin almost cried. After begging for 10 minutes, the men finally agreed to give him 2 more days. 2 days. Kelvin walked back into the house slowly. His heart was beating fast. He sat down and whispered to himself. This Lekki lifestyle will kill somebody one day. Just then his phone buzzed. It was a new Instagram message. Kelvin opened it. The sender's name was Sonia Daniels. He recognized the name immediately. She was one of the most popular lifestyle influencers in Lekki. Kelvin sat up straight. The message read, Hi Kelvin, I love your page. Very inspiring. Kelvin almost screamed with excitement. Ah! He quickly adjusted his shirt as if she could see him through the phone. Then he typed carefully, Thank you Sonia, I appreciate it. 3 seconds later, another message arrived. Are you in Lekki? Maybe we should meet for coffee sometime. Kelvin stared at the phone. Coffee. With Sonia Daniels. The same woman with almost 300,000 followers. Kelvin stood up and started pacing around the room. This was exactly what he had been hoping for. If someone like Sonia started appearing on his page, his followers would double. More followers meant more influence. More influence meant real money. But there was one problem. Kelvin remembered his bank balance again. 2,430 nairas. He sighed. How will I take this girl to coffee? Even the cafes she posted on Instagram charged 15,000 nairas for simple drinks. Kelvin scratched his head. Then suddenly a wicked idea entered his mind. He smiled slowly. Wait. Kelvin opened his phone contacts and called his friend Emeka. Emeka answered lazily. Guy, what do you want? Kelvin spoke carefully. My brother. Are you still in London? Yes. And the key to your Lekki apartment? You still kept it with the security man, right? Emeka became suspicious. Why? Kelvin smiled like a politician about to make a promise. My brother. I want to host someone. At the same time, Sonia Daniels was sitting in a boutique mirror admiring herself. She was wearing a beautiful red designer dress. The dress cost 180,000 nairas. But Sonia had no intention of keeping it. She turned slowly in front of the mirror. Perfect. Her friend Adaze was sitting nearby watching her. Aren't you buying that dress? Adaze asked. Sonia laughed. Buy. For what? So why are you wearing it? Sonia raised her phone and snapped several pictures. Then she smiled. For Instagram. Adaze shook her head. You will return it again, right? Sonia winked. Tomorrow morning. She looked at Kelvin's profile again. The cars. The mansion. The lifestyle. Sonia felt satisfied. Finally she had found a man who could upgrade her life. She whispered to herself. This one is not like those fake Lekki boys. Little did she know. Kelvin was whispering something similar across town. This girl is definitely rich. Both of them were about to meet. Both of them were lying. Both of them believed the other person was rich. And somewhere in Lekki, Destiny was already laughing. However, inside a small apartment not far away, Tunda Balogun was arguing with someone on the phone. Sir, please, I will come to work tonight. The voice on the other side sounded angry. You missed 2 shifts already. Tunda tried to explain. I had important business meetings. The supervisor shouted. Tunda, you are a customer service agent, not Dangote. Tunda closed his eyes in embarrassment. But he quickly regained confidence. Sir, relax. Big opportunities are coming. The supervisor sighed. Just come to work tonight. Tunda hung up, looked at his reflection in the mirror. He adjusted his suit. Future billionaire, he said proudly. Just then his phone beeped. A message from a woman named Lola. Hi Tunda, are you free tomorrow evening? Tunda smiled. Of course. He typed back confidently. Yes, let's have dinner in Lekki. Tunda looked at his empty wallet. Then he whispered nervously. Gotta beg. Help your son. In different parts of Lekki that night, Kelvin was planning a fake luxury date with Sonia. Sonia was preparing to meet the man she believed was a millionaire. Tunda was planning a dinner he could not afford. And Lola was about to walk into a relationship built entirely on lies. Kelvin Okoro woke up very early that morning. Not because he was hardworking. Not because he had business meetings. But because he had a date with Sonia Daniels, the famous Instagram influencer. Kelvin jumped out of bed and checked his phone again to make sure the message was real. Yes, the chat was still there. Sonia, looking forward to seeing you later today. Kelvin smiled like a man who had just won a lottery. Then he opened his bank app again. His smile disappeared immediately. Account balance. 2,430 nairas. Kelvin sighed. My life is finished. How was he supposed to impress a woman who took pictures in 5-star hotels with only 2,000 naira? Kelvin rubbed his head. 2 hours later Kelvin arrived at Emeka's compound in Lekki. The security guard recognized him. Good morning, sir. Kelvin walked confidently like the owner of the house. Yes. How is everything? Fine, sir. Kelvin lowered his voice. Emeka told me to use the apartment today. The guard nodded. Yes, sir. He mentioned something like that. Kelvin almost hugged the man. Within minutes he was inside the beautiful apartment. Kelvin walked around slowly. The living room looked like something from a movie. White leather sofas, a massive television, glass tables, large windows overlooking the street. Kelvin whispered to himself, today, I am a billionaire. But the apartment was only part of the problem. He still needed a car. Kelvin quickly called his friend Bayo. Guy, abeg, I need help. Bayo laughed immediately. Kelvin, what did you do again? Nothing. I just need your car for 2 hours. Which car? That your black Lexus. Bayo was silent for a few seconds. Then he said slowly, Kelvin, last time I borrowed you my car you returned it with an empty fuel tank. Kelvin laughed nervously. My brother, forget that one. This one is important. Why? Kelvin lowered his voice proudly. I have a date with Sonia Daniels. There was a long silence. Then Bayo shouted, the Instagram girl. Yes. Bayo started laughing. Kelvin, you are about to embarrass Nigeria. Guy, please. After begging for 10 minutes, Bayo finally agreed. But he warned him, return the car before evening. I need it. Kelvin jumped happily. God bless you. Kelvin rushed home and opened his wardrobe. Inside were clothes that looked expensive but were actually very old. He finally picked his best outfit. A white shirt, black trousers, a borrowed designer jacket. Then he sprayed so much perfume that even mosquitoes in the room started coughing. He looked in the mirror. Yes, billionaire. But Kelvin knew the most important thing in Lekki was not clothes. It was confidence. If you walked like a rich man, people would believe you were rich. Meanwhile, Sonia is preparing too. Across Lekki, Sonia Daniels was also preparing for the date. Her friend Adaze was watching her suspiciously. You are really serious about this guy? Sonia smiled confidently. Of course. Have you seen his page? Yes, Adaze said. But Instagram can deceive people. Sonia waved her hand dismissively. This one is different. Look at the cars he drives. Adaze shook her head slowly. I hope so. Sonia ignored her. She was too excited. If Kelvin was truly as rich as he looked, her life was about to upgrade. She opened her wardrobe and pulled out a beautiful handbag. Adaze looked closer. Wait, isn't that Kioma's bag? Sonia smiled. Yes, you borrowed it, obviously. Adaze laughed. Sonia, one day your lifestyle will expose you. Sonia winked. Not today. By evening Kelvin arrived at the apartment with Bayo's Lexus. He parked outside confidently. Then he checked himself in the mirror again. Focus, Kelvin. Today your destiny will change. 30 minutes later, Sonia's ride arrived. Kelvin watched through the window as she stepped out of the car. Even Kelvin had to admit, she looked stunning. Long dress, designer heels, elegant smile. Kelvin quickly opened the door like a gentleman. Welcome. Sonia walked in slowly, looking around the luxurious apartment. Her eyes widened. This place is beautiful. Kelvin nodded casually. Yes, it's my small place. Inside his head he was praying. God, please forgive me. Sonia sat on the couch and admired the view. So Kelvin, what exactly do you do? Kelvin cleared his throat. I'm into crypto investments, and some international deals. Sonia nodded, pretending to understand. Inside her head she was thinking. Jackpot. Just then Kelvin's phone rang. He looked at the screen. His heart almost stopped. Bayo calling. Kelvin answered quickly and whispered. Guy, what is it? Bayo sounded angry. Where are you with my car? Kelvin turned away from Sonia. I told you I'm using it for something important. Bayo shouted. Important? My uncle just arrived from Abuja and he needs the car now. Kelvin froze. What? You must return the car immediately. Kelvin looked at Sonia sitting comfortably on the couch. Sweat started forming on his forehead. How will I explain this? Before he could think of a solution, another disaster happened. There was a loud knock on the door. Bang, bang, bang. Kelvin's heart nearly jumped out of his chest. Sonia looked confused. Are you expecting someone? Kelvin shook his head slowly. No. The knocking became louder. Then a voice shouted from outside. Open this door. Kelvin recognized the voice immediately. Kelvin whispered to himself in panic. Oh God. Today is not my day. Meanwhile, the knocking on the door became louder. Kelvin's hands were shaking. Sonia was watching him carefully. And just when Kelvin thought the situation couldn't get worse, his phone rang again. The message on the screen made his blood run cold. It was from the car owner. I am coming to take the car back now. Kelvin looked at Sonia, then at the door, then at the phone. At that moment, he realized something terrifying. Within the next few minutes, every lie he had built in Lekki might collapse at once. But the real disaster had not even started yet. Stay tuned for the next episode. My amazing viewers, if you want to see what happened next, make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel. Episode 2 is coming soon, and trust me, the truth about Lekki will shock you. Bye bye.